So this guy, I've heard of this guy before. This dude right here, he acts like he makes all this money. I had a feeling he was a fraudster, and now Spencer Cornelia, king of exposing fraud, is exposing this freaking fraud.
This guy has a podcast where his slogan is "Fraud is dope," and he surprisingly
Fraud
is
is
heading
dope.
to prison for committing a fraud.
I am Jonathan Dupiton, aka Finesse, also known as Rich. Man, I have one of the biggest podcasts out, Rich and Unemployed, and all that was birthed from being inside of prison, man.
He's actually broke and unemployable because he's been a fraudster his entire adult life.
I never imagined in my life that
Rich
I would
and
not
Unemployed.
be doing illegal shit. I always thought
Rich and Unemployed. I remember this podcast. Oh,
like
God.
I was gonna be thinking
Look at this.
like a criminal, because I've been a criminal all my life. I've been a criminal all my life.
And he still was a criminal while trying to convince his audience that he changed. A couple of weeks ago, the DOJ released this press release titled "Fraud is Dope, Podcaster Sentenced to Federal Prison Again." That one word at the end makes this title so much funnier.
So
Again.
good.
Yes, this isn't the first time he's heading to prison.
I did my dirt. I came up and moved on.
What he didn't include at the end is that he moved on to a different form of fraud.
My homie introduced me. He was like,
Classic.
yo, he came to me with a list of papers. I'm like, I got all these names. I'm finna do some taxes. And he didn't even say taxes. He just, I got a scheme going on, bro. And I'm finna be up. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, he pulled up in the BMW. I'm like, so he put me on, he gave me like 5 names.
If you're so rich and unemployed, why do you care that he pulls up in a BMW? Why are you like mesmerized by that? Like, ooh, why did that make you excited? It shouldn't. You're rich and unemployed already.
I did the taxes. I ended up with like 10,000, and that kind of just opened the door. And I was like,
Did
In his
the
early
taxes.
20s, Jonathan was spending time around society's most productive members, the criminal class who love stealing from others.
premeditated. You know what I mean? Like, I go in the crib, like, I go in, you, my friend, I go in his crib. We going together, we playing the games. Like, oh, he got all type of in here. I'm about to leave a window open, come back the next day.
What?
But he was kicking doors at 15. I was like, I don't want to be a part of no shit like that. Like, I was a smooth
Oh, when he was
criminal.
young.
Instead of being a
Okay, he meant when he was young. I was like, is he doing that now?
violent criminal, he teamed up with a friend to commit fraud against the U.S. government. Instead of being a smooth criminal, he's more likely a smooth-brained criminal.
Food stamps is the judge.
But
Getting the food stamp cards from the state and cashing them.
Jonathan and his friend were somehow able to obtain a list of names and social security numbers. They used that info to apply for food stamps, and they received the cards in the mail. Jonathan claims
food stamp fraud. Classic food stamp fraud.
$194 per month, 100 accounts in the first month.
I just blocked in 19,000. Next month we're gonna do another 19,000. Yeah. So at month 2 we're doing
gonna
40,000 a
do-
month. And at month 3 we're doing 60,000. And at month 8 we're doing 80,000.
He said month 3 or what, month 2 we're doing 60,000. That's the way you talk if you have a legitimate business that you're running. You don't say we're doing 20 grand or doing 60 grand. That's you bringing in. You don't say that for fraud. Oh my God.
A month for a year straight. So I got to the point where I'm making like 120 every month. You know what I'm saying? Straight to my pocket.
It's easy to see why clowns like him commit fraud. You can either be a productive member of society and make a couple grand per month, but no, not that. Let's take
Nope.
the big risk and make 100 grand a month and see if we don't get caught. Well, we know how this story ends.
They basically came for like
Fucking love it.
aggravated identity theft, wire fraud, mail fraud, food stamp fraud, conspiracy. They were looking for $300K in cash.
Back in January 2016, Jonathan and Stephanie Dupiton were indicted on criminal
Who's
charges.
Stephanie?
Jonathan filed an application with the USDA for a store called J. Good Groceries to participate in SNAP.
Because the other thing that I noticed I saw a clip of his, or I watched some video, like I think it was the way that I came up to like figure out who he is. He kept talking about like, oh, like he don't want a girl, he's doing his own thing, you know, he's so focused on his rich and unemployed, blah, 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 that he was like, no females for me. So I'm wondering, who's Stephanie?
Stephanie filed for her story a year later. The defendants obtained the personal identifying information of their victims during this time period. The EBT cards were sent to their personal address and other addresses in the Atlanta area. I'd like to think that if I ever became a criminal, I would make sure that my scheme isn't tied to my primary residence where I happen to live at all. Jonathan might be unemployable because he's just a flat-out idiot. The defendants then used the EBT cards at their fake grocery stores for their own use and to the use of others.
Man, after a year, I was up like, I was up.
You was
I was up.
It's just so funny, huh? To just be frauding and scamming people. Hilarious. Who are these two clowns letting this guy talk?
Yeah.
Guys like Jonathan are the lowest IQ idiots on the planet. They really think they're gonna run up a play on the government and not get caught. My
Yeah.
bags were up, bro. Yeah, for 1 year, then you gotta serve time and you're a convicted criminal for the rest of your life. August 2017, convenience store owners sentenced for food stamp fraud and identity
See, and then they'll say, well, I've been in prison, I can't get a job. Yeah, because you are a criminal. Like, maybe you shouldn't have done it. You shouldn't be a fraudster in the first place.
theft. Jonathan and Stephanie Dupiton have been sentenced for using stolen identities to steal over $395,000. The Dupitons then collected and swiped the fraudulent SNAP cards at their convenience stores. Over $800,000 in SNAP payments were deposited in the defendants' bank accounts.
You was in.
I was up, man. I was up. Yeah.
It's hard to confront people on your podcast, I know that. However, I think this is
guess.
indicative of a bigger issue, that crime is cool and acceptable in any way. If I were president, I'd make
Embarrassing.
criminals like Jonathan serve 30 years and no chance of getting out early. I know it may be a little harsh, but he stole from people in need and he knew what he was doing. Even worse is these idiots on the podcast are laughing like it's cool what he did. Jonathan
It's the laughing is insane.
Dupiton was sentenced to 3 years, 9 months in prison, and Stephanie Dupiton was sentenced to 6 months in prison. Both defendants were also sentenced to 3 years of supervised release, a special assessment of $100, and ordered
I wonder if this Stephanie was just like, oh, he's cute. Like, I'll just, whatever. Like, he knows what he's doing. Bro, she got 6 months in prison because of this man. Because trust me, this man's been scamming before her. He could have met a scammer and they fell in love. Who knows? Okay. Scammer on scammer love. But like, imagine that he just like, he made her his girlfriend and was like, hey, like, let's do this thing. And now she in prison for 6 months.
pay $396,000 in restitution. The easiest way to stop fraudsters like Jonathan is to increase the sentences. Make crime like this
Increase sentences, but also why is it so easy to commit EBT fraud? Like, hey, let's put some things in place to like prevent this from happening.
30 years in prison, and us law-abiding citizens would benefit. DJ ASAP and wife sentenced to 40 years for $30 million pyramid scheme. I
heard
covered
about
the story
that.
years ago on my channel when they were first charged. This sentence seems a little harsh,
Saw the
but I like
tears.
it. Human behavior is driven by incentives. As we increase the disincentives, crime will go down. In June 2023, Jonathan wrote this
We need guys like you, Spencer, because nobody's out here doing this good work.
request for early termination of supervised release to the judge. Jonathan is likely dealing with mental health issues now that he's heading to prison, but I don't want you to have to deal with them. A few years ago,
What mental health issues? Depression? Like, yeah, duh, you're about to go to prison.
when I moved to Las Vegas, I was battling some mental health issues from a major life stressor. Therapy gave me a consistent space to understand my patterns instead of trying to force myself to just push through things. Over 6 million people have used BetterHelp, today's sponsor, because they all realized that going to therapy was
We
much
gotta
better than
support
figuring it
Spencer.
out on their own. I like partnering with BetterHelp because I know how much value a therapist can provide when you need one. I still utilize tactics shared with me by my therapist many years ago. The most important element I still use to this day from therapy is asking myself whether a certain behavior or belief system benefits me. If the answer is no, then I don't proceed with that activity or belief. A
I like
therapist
that.
listens, asks the right questions, and helps you see things from perspectives you wouldn't reach on your own. BetterHelp has made starting therapy much easier. You fill out a short questionnaire and you can be matched with a therapist in as little as a couple days. BetterHelp
It's
has a
pretty easy.
decade of experience matching their customers with the right therapists. And if it's not the right fit, you can switch therapists at no extra cost. There are many catalysts to major stress events going on right now, so I want you to know that therapy can be a great solution. If you want to make your mental health a priority this year, click the link in the description or go
If
to
you need it,
betterhelp.com/Spencer
go
Cornelia to get
support
10% off your
Spencer.
first month of therapy.
If you need therapy.
And that shit hurt. That
So he was saying that he should get therapy. I mean, look, therapy ain't gonna fix this. Okay. He is a scammer through and through.
shit put a stain on me.
The first paragraph indicates that
And I'm sorry, it's one thing to like just be a scammer. It's another thing to like have a whole podcast, pretty much like low key, but not low key, like bragging like that you don't have a job. You're bragging that you don't have a job. You're pretty much saying, I'm rich and I don't have a job, ... because I'm a scammer and I scam people.
Jonathan served 45 months in jail and 32 months of supervised release. His next paragraph includes mention of his mom passing, how difficult it's been, and how much
Oh, look, indicted as a co-conspirator along with my sister. Okay, so I was wrong. So Stephanie is not his girlfriend. He is not messing with the females. He got his sister involved. So are they just a family of scammers? Why is this girl like, if my brother was out here committing fraud, I'm gonna be like, hello, police, get this man. Well, first I'm gonna talk to him out of it. I'm gonna try to talk him out of it. But if he is insistent, I'm gonna go to the cops. Screw that.
he's changed his life around. In his final paragraph, he says, "You also gave me a lighter sentence and said if I ever came before you again, you would not be that kind. That statement has also stuck with me. I am determined to never put myself in the position to have my life
Psych.
decided by someone else." Which is why this press release is so
Then his story will be, oh, well, my podcast wasn't doing as well as I thought it would be doing, ever since I went to prison, no one really trusts me and everything. So, I had to go back to scamming because I can't get a job because I've been in jail and, I didn't have any other options. That's what he's going to say.
funny. The fraudster is heading to prison again. My favorite sentence in
Is
this
he?
paragraph is Jonathan saying, "For recognizing my intelligence." Jonathan has the IQ of a television without its cord. meaning
Literally.
It's always going to be turned off.
I went to court back in 2017 and I had over like 6 figures that
His brain even has some air and he still can't think right.
I wanted to put up. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know I was gonna go to prison, but I knew I was going to court, which was a 50-50 chance that I might not come back home.
Jonathan is so intelligent, remember? He's the type of criminal to use his personal address, build a brand around being a fraud, and posting the word fraud on his apartment walls. Jonathan then explains
in
how he
his
bought
house?
a PVC pipe, stuffed cash into the pipe, and hid it before he went to prison for the first time. He may have had some
What?
cash hidden for when he returned to prison, but he hasn't always been flush with cash.
I done finessed the world to think that I'm rich as
Look at this music. Look at the ambiance. Look at his glasses. Look at this nice shirt or coat. Like, he literally He thinks he has class. He thinks he's a classy dude. Bro, no.
Let me explain, because like people, it's hard to believe when I tell people that I'm broke. Hey, I ain't got it right now, bro. Damn, bro, like my bank account low. Like,
It is not hard to believe. What?
believe it. Motherfucker call me like, hey man, bro, this is my rich partner. Not knowing, but I'm f***ed up right now.
What's ironic is he released this video after spending the previous 3 years committing fraud while on supervised release for committing fraud.
Oh my
Jonathan is the
God.
kind of guy who has no character and only cares about money.
Realistically, Jonathan, aka Finesse, also known as Rich.
Oh my
I'm trying
God. He just talked about himself in the third person and used like 3 nicknames.
to make $1 million a month. Let me take the trying word out. I'm going to make $1 million a month. Well, how you gonna make that, Jonathan? Well,
Oh my God.
I gotta allow the universe to let that come in my life. Well, how?
He sounds like one of those prosperity preachers who tells you to invest in the church and prosperity will be your reward. Just
Just pray. Just pray. As long as you put it in your mind, you know what? I'm gonna make $1 million. Yeah, okay.
hand over him money and he's going to tell you how to become a millionaire. In
Praise
February
the Lord.
2025, Jonathan was indicted on numerous fraud charges again.
I think God doesn't look at life with good and bad. You know what I'm saying? It's just life. It's just what it is. And
Oh my God.
yeah, I'm doing something illegal, but who's to say it's illegal? The motherfuckers that made up the rules? God,
Bro. Is this real? Does he really think people believe this garbage? It is bad because you are taking these things away from those who actually need EBT benefits. You dumb idiot. You're just thinking about the government. The government is helping the people who need it by providing those benefits, and you're taking them. And you don't even need food. You just want to make $1 million a month. Oh my God.
I didn't make up this rule. You know what I mean? So
Remember when Jonathan claimed he was intelligent? He shared his wisdom with the hundreds of thousands of people that followed him.
yeah, I'm doing something illegal, but who's to say it's illegal? The motherfuckers that made up the rules?
What this low IQ podcaster
Okay.
doesn't seem
Yeah,
to
I really need these podcasters to push back on this. That is absolutely insane. That is absolutely insane.
understand is all of us law-abiding citizens want laws because it keeps people like him in prison and not stealing from the government for money that is supposed to go to people in need. The defendants submitted fraudulent unemployment insurance applications for unemployment insurance benefits to the CAEDD, which is the Employment Development Department for the state of California.
That's just how I look at life. Like, I don't look at anything bad. Like, when I went to prison,
Yeah.
all right, thank you, God.
Yeah.
I know I'm finna go in here and learn something.
Jonathan, you finna learn how to commit a new form of fraud now that you're in prison again. Is anyone surprised that everything this guy does is fraudulent?
The
No.
breakthrough was,
There has not been a
they put me
breakthrough.
on house arrest. I was on house arrest for like the whole summer, man. Like, I had a condo in Miami. They trying to put me on house arrest because I lied about having a job, submitting fake paycheck stubs.
His post in May 2022 was likely referring to this since the description states he was going to be on house arrest. Quite ironic that his wheel of photos were all of him driving a Ferrari and living in a Miami penthouse.
Oh
You
my
might have noticed
God.
that his Instagram handle is Finessers Only Club. He's like Bandman Kevo 2.0, where you just need to look at their profile and know they're up to some type of fraud or scamming.
What was it? Finesse Man 2.0. So you're just like letting everyone know. He doesn't care that people know he's a scammer. That's the craziest part. I'm a finesser. That's what he's saying on his Instagram.
I'll tap that with y'all real soon, probably after I get,
Does that look like a robot? That looks like a
I'm
robot.
not even gonna say that, when the decision is made on when I be getting out of here.
He released this video before his sentencing and it looked like he was holding back tears the entire time.
Oh,
And
that's
thankfully,
probably
the
why.
judge this time around wasn't as lenient. On
Thank
April
God.
14, 2026, Jonathan was sentenced to 7 years in prison to be followed by 3 years of supervised release. Dupiton pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit mail and wire fraud and aggravated identity theft on January 13, 2026. With the previous judge, he claimed to be a changed man, but he was still committing fraud while on supervised release of a fraud charge. This guy is going to be broke and unemployable for the rest of his life. The indictment shows an example of 7 of the
That's
over
what he
300 debit
deserves.
cards that were sent to Jonathan in the mail. There's roughly
Wow.
$140,000 in fraud in this image alone. The defendants depleted the funds mainly by making cash withdrawals at various ATMs located in the Northern District of Georgia. On April 24, 2026, the court filed a restitution order. Mr. Dupiton is ordered to pay $2.285 million in restitution.
I'll be back soon, man, but this time it'll be a little different.
Who watches this podcast? We have to know who watches this podcast because, like, at least me, when I watch podcasts, it's either for entertainment or to learn something. It doesn't seem real entertaining what he's trying to do. So people are obviously watching this to learn something. What do you want to learn? Like, are you trying to learn how to scam? What could you possibly be trying to learn from this guy on his podcast?
The restitution shall be paid in full immediately. Any restitution that is not paid in full must be paid in monthly installments from any wages Mr. Dupiton earns in prison in accordance with the Bureau of Prisons Inmate Financial Responsibility Program.
I already been down 10 months. And these 10 months is definitely a great experience.
The lifestyle
So that robotic voice, I guess, is him holding back tears. It's very weird.
Jonathan showed on his social media that helped build the brand of being a rich and unemployed Lothario was all from fraud. Multiple millions of dollars taken during COVID from people who really needed the money.
My brokers are different.
And that's not bad Because who says it's bad? The people who made the law? Who says what's good and bad? Who says what's right and wrong? Shut up, dude.
I get it. My broke would be, shit, I'm down to my last 20, 30,000, 40,000. Shit, when I'm
No, his definition of broke is making a regular income, having a regular job, a legal job. That's his definition of broke.
at 50, I feel broke.
Of course, Jonathan needed the money because he's broke when he can't steal from others. I personally think he should spend the rest of his life in prison now that he's done it twice. Yes, I'm serious. Any portion of the restitution that is not paid in full at the time of Mr. Dupiton's release from imprisonment, including a halfway house, will become a condition of supervision and commence within 60 days after release from imprisonment.
Listen, I'm gonna keep it short and simple, bro. I create the life that I wanted. I create my reality.
How funny are his beliefs now that you realize his multi-million-dollar net worth was all from fraud? Or maybe he's going to jail to become like a Wes Watson, where he'll come out and become a prison influencer and create workout plans and become a multi-millionaire that way. The C-A-E-D.
Hey, why not do that? Come out and just say, like, this is my time in prison. We start working out, you know, get your workout on in jail, get your body right, you know, and become an influencer. Like, do something. Don't fraud again. Don't be a fraudster. Like, it's obviously you're going to keep going back to prison. It's like, was prison not horrible enough for you that you were scared straight into not doing it again?
He was duped into mailing over 300 debit cards and transferring approximately $3 million to those accounts.
10 years from now, Jonathan Dupiton, what is he doing?
Retired. Sitting on the island. Probably, yeah, sitting on the island somewhere.
With no
multiple
money.
properties across the world. Or chilling, raising kids.
Okay. How are you going to get that money and those properties?
Raising about 10, 15 kids.
Word.
Some of you might not know this, but I can actually predict the future. In 10 years, Jonathan will be back in prison where he belongs, and he'll be envisioning creating a reality where he's a multimillionaire. Thanks so much for watching.
Hilarious. Yeah, that's ridiculous. This guy is a psycho. Okay, like, comment, subscribe. Bye.